Today I'm going to answer the second most common question that I'm asked by Unity developers. The first most common one is usually, how do I get into the game dev industry? But the second most common question that comes up all the time is, what assets would you recommend for new developers or developers that are trying to get a project done quickly? So in this video, I'll give you a breakdown of all of the assets that I like to use when I'm creating projects, the ones that I pull in by default and have been using for many years. We'll start with the one that I recommend for everybody, the best one, and that's Odin Inspector. You know, Inspector and Serializer is the full name, but we just call it Odin. Odin's an inspector extension that makes it so that Unity does a lot of things that you probably just wished it could do, giving you the ability to add buttons with a single attribute, or show things in a nice reorderable list, or even build a cool inventory window with almost no code. One of my favorite features is the ability to just access any static variable, and I use this to cheat and adjust the time scale on projects before I've added any special time systems to it. I could easily record a multi-hour video on all of the cool stuff that's inside of Odin that just makes development easier, but I want to make this short and just say that if you're going to get only one asset, if there's only one thing you grab in the next year, go with Odin and see just how much more enjoyable it makes your Unity development experience. And if you're already using it and agree, then back me up in the comments. Make sure that everybody knows. All the developers I knew before told me it was great, and I didn't listen until enough of them said, hey, you got to try this out. Gave it a shot, and I was blown away. I think you will be too. The next one doesn't go into every project, but I have used it quite a few times, and that's Easy Save. Not all games need to save, but for the ones that do, Easy Save makes it easy by combining the serialization and the saving so that you don't have to worry about serializing all of the data yourself and then figuring out how to store it, which is relatively easy on PC, but gets to be a bit more complicated when you start to go cross-platform and have your solution run on mobile devices or consoles. The Easy Save is a nice, easy way to make that easy, like the name implies. Once I have my project created and Odin's imported, I usually like to create some sort of an environment for my game development. Sometimes I'll go with Pro Builder and just build out a blocky little area, and sometimes I'll just take a demo level from one of the cool environment packs that I own. But when I want to make something that's a little bit more unique, I usually go with a tool like Gaia or DunGen. In fact, those are the two that I default to. I've been using Gaia for, I don't know how long it's been since it came out, and pretty much the same for DunGen. They both allow you to do generation, just slightly different. Gaia does real world or kind of realistic and fantasy. You can swap out the art, but overland giant environments, where DunGen lets you define rooms and then generate these really cool dungeons with all the rooms interconnected and just lining up the way that you want them to. You can instantly generate a bunch of different variations or just generate them on the fly. It's a really cool tool for building out these levels because realistically, it takes forever to build a dungeon manually, and hitting the button on this a couple times so you have a good base is a great way to start, instead of wasting weeks or months building out a level that you might decide next week you want to change away from completely. You use a tool like this, you just regenerate again and save yourself all that time and energy. Focus on your actual game. For characters, there are two different types I want to talk about, the two that I use most often. The first one is the low poly or the cartoony characters. There are a lot of options out there, but the ones that I really like are these monsters and these robots. And the reason for that is that one, they look really cool, and two, they're kind of like Pokemon characters that all have upgrades. So each level of them looks a little bit bigger and cooler, and each one of them has 3 levels. So I can use this for anything that has some sort of leveling up mechanic. Again, I think they're neat and cartoony, and that doesn't always fit into every project. So when I want to use something that's a little bit more realistic and HD, I usually go to the InfinityPBR Character Pack. The reason that I like these character models is that they're ridiculously customizable. If you want to build a game where your characters or your players are allowed to customize their characters, these are the types of models that you want. There's even a new face and hair pack that allows you to add different beards, mustaches, and hairs. You can adjust the body completely, even at runtime, give them weapons and armor, and this pack really matches with one of the first packs that I ever bought for Unity, which was the amazingly cool looking Dragons pack that I'm sure you've probably seen. Now, when it comes to characters, there is also one really useful tool that I've been using, well, pretty much since the beginning of my Unity times, and that's Puppetmaster. It allows you to create ragdolls for your characters to just let them take hits, go flying, or do whatever ragdolly type stuff that you want to do. If you want to have some really cool, interesting deaths, or just unique character interactions, Puppetmaster is really cool. I don't pull it into everything, but if I want to do cool deaths or maybe throw characters around, then it's my go-to solution for that kind of problem. Now I want to share some of the assets that I like to use to make things look cooler, and this is actually a big list because there are a lot of easy ways to make things look really cool. The first is with particle effects. In fact, that's the first thing that I learned, is that you can make anything look cooler with the right particle effects. And the first particle effects that I really fell in love with in Unity were the CartoonFx packs. Now there's a new remastered version of these CartoonFx packs, and I have them all. I love them all and use them almost always as my default. The other cartoon pack that I like to pull in, though, is the Epic Toon Fx. It's got quite a few more effects. It's a giant pack. Not the same exact effects, though, so I like to pull them in side by side and just pick the one that works for the effect that I need. One of the things I always loved about the CartoonFx pack was that it also has this CartoonFx Easy Editor that allows me to adjust and rescale, adjust the time and delays and colors of particles, even the ones that aren't included with the CartoonFx pack. Now, when I'm working in a game that's more realistic, I like to go with the Realistic Effects pack. And this pack has been around for a while and updated quite a bit, and I just love the way that it looks. It looks like actual AAA particles, something that you would see in a real game and might even overwhelm you. I think it's a really neat set of effects and gives some really cool, especially RPG and fantasy magic feeling visuals to your game. So if you're looking for AAA-like graphics, that's kind of the combo that I use as my default go-to until I get to custom art and making the insanely expensive stuff. On the topic of HD, one of the coolest and lowest work effects that you can get is fur or hair using Fluffy Grooming Tool. This was a new one to me. I haven't been using it for very long, but when I started with it, I was blown away with how easy it is. You basically map out the area you want to give fur to and hair to, and give it some settings, and your fur is just there. It looks great, and it really adds some awesomeness to your games. I want to try this in quite a few of my different actual games. So far, I've been playing with it in a lot of projects, and it's one of my new default things that I try out in almost every character model. I go, hey, what would this look like with fur? So try out Fluffy if you haven't given it a shot. Now, you might not want to build a game that has a bunch of fluffy characters or something, but I've got another really cool tool for you that, well, I think makes almost any game more interesting and is fun to drop into just about any game to see what it looks like, and that's the Curved World tool. This is something that you can just drop into your game, enable, and then have a really weird effect where it looks like your world is curved. It changes the view of things without changing the actual game, so you don't have to modify your gameplay. Everything works, and it just looks cool through the magic of shaders. It's some stuff that, to be honest, I don't really understand the magic behind it. I just know that it works and it looks really neat, really cool for doing infinite runners, and really, again, just dropping into any kind of game and seeing what that effect looks like there. Now, if you're looking for a less world-changing option, Feel and Megafiers are both great options for adding some life and juice to your game. If you really want to make your game feel alive, and you might notice this when you play other games, how things bounce in and have these cool, impactful effects. You get both of these without really writing any code, just by importing the packs. You can see what you get in Feel is a lot of camera and visual effects, particle effects, and with Megafiers, you can do all kinds of crazy things to the models, warp and distort them, bounce them around, and do neat things that you would have to write a whole lot of code for yourself if you wanted to do. I like to pull these in somewhere near the middle to end of the project, or when I get a little bit bored and just want to add a little bit of flash to something like an impact or a hit, or even a menu selection. Now, speaking of menus, when we get into text, there's one tool that I always like to use, and that's TextAnimator. Of course, that's on top of TextMeshpro, but that's no longer an asset. It's built right in. TextAnimator gives you a whole bunch of really cool animations on top of TextMeshpro without, again, having to write any code for it. You get these really neat effects, and you can just drop them right in. I recommend that if you're doing a lot of text or any cool text, just try out TextAnimator and make sure that you have it available for your projects when you're working on them. The next assets I want to talk about really do make a huge difference in jumpstarting your game. The first one is for building MMORPGs, and I've actually worked on and built quite a few MMOs. I know exactly how long it takes. It's an insane amount of time. uMMORpg, which is now remastered, gives you a full MMO right from the start. So you hit play, you basically got your MMO up and running with networking, multiplayer inventory, and all of the core systems that you would expect in an MMO. Now, would I recommend this for building your own MMO? Probably, unless you've got a big giant team that's already experienced and knows how to build an MMO. This is a great way to start. This is what you should do instead of trying to spend 2 years trying to figure out all of those core fundamentals. There's a lot going into MMO development, and having a starting point like this makes it actually realistic to build something, get it out there and release it. You're not going to build World of Warcraft, of course, but you could definitely build a cool game that you, your friends, and maybe a cool giant group of people really fall in love with. Now, if you don't want to build a multiplayer game, you can also go to something like RPGBuilder. And this one I'm actually a little bit new to, but I've been playing around with it quite a bit lately, and I'm pretty impressed. I'm actually going to see if I can get my kids to try to build an RPG in it and see what that experience is like. But I've talked to quite a few people and played with it myself, and I think that it's a really neat way to build an RPG without having to write code. So if you're a game designer or an artist and you've been wanting to get in, you really don't want to have to do all of the code, and it's really kind of hard and making it daunting. RPGBuilder is a good option there. Now, I want to finish off with one that I haven't actually used because I want to get your guys' opinions and see if maybe it's something that I should jump into and try out because I find it really interesting. That's the CCGKit. And I want to see if maybe I can add this to my list of GOTO assets. The CCGKit, or the Collectible Card Game Kit, allows you to build a multiplayer card game. So I like to play a lot of Magic. I used to like to play a lot of Hearthstone online, and I think that card games are just a fun thing to build. So I want to grab this kit and maybe build something as soon as I get a little bit of time with it. But a little bit of time so that I can do it. But I'm really curious if you've used it before, or if you maybe have some other kits that I should check out instead. I'm going to let you know how that goes though, and I'll probably do a quick update with it if I end up making something with that. All right, that's my list, that's my list. I hope it was helpful. And if you have some assets that you think are useful that I should be using all the time, or that everybody else should be using, or you think I'm wrong about one of these, please drop a comment down below. I'm kind of curious. I want to make sure that I'm giving everybody the best assets, and there's always something new. Every time I ask, somebody introduces me to something awesome and new. So I'm hoping that that happens again this time. All right, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks again. I'll see you next time.